little dark on one side. Let's see if we can. It is what it is. Let's turn the volume down. Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday, as you probably know, and we're knitting, as we do most Mondays. So we're going to get right into it. I am slow moving this morning, so we'll see how it goes. I want to get quite a number of swatches done. The last couple of weeks we've only been able to get like 3 done because some of them have been huge, just because of the nature of the beast. But these seem to be, at least the first few, much smaller. So the first one we're going to do today is called Cat's Eye, and it is a simple Shetland all-over lace pattern derived from the Picot Eyelet. So if you're unfamiliar with the Picot Eyelet, you will know a lot more about it by the end of today. So, I really don't understand why this whole side of my face is so dark, but let's see. That wasn't really helpful. Oh well, that's how it is, folks. That's how it is. All right. We're just going to dive right in. The Cat's Eye, as I was saying, is Picot Eyelets, and I am going to work it on in the same fine yarn that I have been doing all of these patterns, which is Katia Mississippi 3. And I have a new desk and a new setup, sort of, so I have to figure out where I am on my desk. It's a much larger desk. I love it. I just abandoned my old desk, so I have to clean that up later. But anyhow, so I'm going to have to kind of figure out where I am. The yarn overs are worked on right side rows, and there are decreases to, offset those. That will happen on the wrong side rows. This is only a 4-row repeat. Yay! And it's done over a multiple of 4 stitches. Oh, and it's worked with a fine yarn, but they recommend, because it's essentially a lace, even though, because it probably has the Picot eyelets. It's in the eyelet chapter, and they recommend using like medium-sized needles. So I'm on a US 8, because I love my square needles, and I've really missed them. All right, so let's cast on 16. And I'm quickly making sure there's no funky business that happens in the first few stitches. There's not. It's been a while since I've knit on medium-sized needles, so that's fun. Let's count how many, because I don't count as I cast on. 5, 10, 14, 15, 16. We're going to start on a right side row. We're going to knit 4, yarn over twice, knit 4, and just kind of keep that up. So yarn over twice, followed by a knit, so we're good there. 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over twice, twice, and I slip the last stitch. I'm always going to knit the first stitch. All right, on the wrong side row, we essentially work a purl 2, then we're going to purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1 into the yarn over. That's what forms the picot. Purl 2 together. Okay, so we're going to essentially be purling 2 together, not these edge stitches here. That's our purl 2. Then, oops, and we're going to purl 2 together. That should take us to our yarn over. That's accounts for 1 decrease for this double yarn over. And then we're going to purl 1, drop that 1 loop off, knit 1. Like it's so loose, that's because I'm on big needles. Purl 2 together, that accounts for the other loop of the yarn over. And we're going to repeat that. Poltergeist. Purl 2 together, now we're to the yarn over, so we're going to purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together. Now we have another repeat, purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together. Now we're back to our 16 stitches. And then we purl each of those. I'm going to slip the last one though, so I get a nice edge. All right, nothing really to look at quite yet. That's okay. Those are our eyelets there. They're going to be a little picot because they're going to have a little bump. And then we'll see that as we go along some more. So hang tight for that. All right, row 3, we're going to knit 2. We're essentially offsetting where we put the yarn overs before. We do a single yarn over here because it's kind of like half of a repeat. Then we're going to knit 4, double yarn over, knit 4, double yarn over, knit 4, single yarn over, knit 2. I'm going to slip the last one. All right, last row of the row repeats, and then of course we're going to keep going so that you really see what's going on. We're going to start with purling 3. Of course, I'm knitting the first one, but then I will purl the next 2. We're purling that yarn over because that's a single yarn over. It doesn't have to become 2 stitches. And then we start with the purl 2 together, purl 2 together. This purl 2 together that we just did was to counter that single yarn over. Now we have, I'm kind of calling it the group where we have to purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together. And then we repeat that. Purl 2 together. Should take us to our yarn over. Purl 1, knit 1. Purl 2 together. And we have the start of another repeat. Purl 2 together, but it's only the single yarn over, so we're just going to purl into that one, and then end with purl 2, or for me, purl 1, slip 1. All right, that is a full row repeat. Not a whole lot to look at because there's not enough repeats. So we're just going to keep doing that for just a little bit till we have a big enough swatch to be able to go, ooh, pretty. All right, so we're going to start out. We're going to knit 4. Double yarn over, knit 4. It's probably the simplest row. Double yarn over. All the way across. Of course, when you get down to the end here, you just knit those last 4, or for me, knit 3, slip the last 1. All right, so now we have more stitches. We started out with 16, and now we have more. 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 22. So considerably more. You'll obviously, with just 4 repeats, we got 6 more stitches, right? Yeah. And then obviously the more repeats you have, the more it can grow quite a bit. All right, for this row we purl 2. I knit the first one, I purl the second one. And then this is what I was talking about before, where here's our double yarn over. So the 2 stitches on each side of that, these are like the original, the OG4. This is the stitch we added in. So we have to counter these 2 new stitches by purling the 2 stitches on either side of the yarn overs. It's on that one, together. And then we will work these. So when we do that, then this becomes 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4. See, we're back to the 4. So we're going to purl 2 together. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together, and we'll do that again. Purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together. So when you have a double yarn over, you cannot like purl twice into that, or knit twice, or anything that's exactly the same stitch, because if you try to do that, you're just going right back in. There's no, it doesn't work. You somehow have to maneuver the yarn into the other side. So that's what we're doing here. So we've purled 1, we're going to drop that loop, bring the yarn back so we can knit the next stitch. So to make an eyelet picot, we purl 1, knit 1. That's not the only way that you can work a double yarn over. You can knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 in the front, knit 1 in the back, purl 1 in the front, purl 1 in the back. But when you purl 1 and then knit 1, you get what's called a picot eyelet, and I will show you that in just a moment here. Finish out. So we'll see how pronounced they are. Last week's episode, I believe, was all about picot eyelets. So I have saved that as a highlight, and I think it's episode 5 or 6. But, oh, actually, it's pretty nicely pronounced. They're like little heart shapes. See how nicely that's like a little heart shape? This one's just kind of a hot mess, but I think it's just not stretched out quite right on the thing. So glad that at least one of them came out as a perfect heart. But that's what makes the picot, because the picot is that little point. So instead of making a round eyelet, it makes a picot, a little heart-shaped one. So when we're all done the swatch, we can lay it out and see how many of them retain their little heartiness. All right, we still have 2 more rows to finish out a row repeat. So here we are essentially offsetting. So before where we started with knit 4, now we're just going to knit 2 and then do double, well, we're going to do a single yarn over because you can kind like these two are just edge stitches. So you can kind of think of this as here's a yarn over and the 2 stitches that will be purled together on the next row. So I just knit 2 after the yarn over. Now I need 2 more. This makes up my 4. Now I'm going to do the double yarn over. And you have to be very careful to actually knit into the stitches and not into the eyelet below. So double yarn over. This first one's not too bad, but here you can see it's easy to go into the holes, especially with these larger needles. 4, and we're just doing a single yarn over and then finishing out the edge. So those 2 stitches on the end are kind of acting as like a nice little border away from, so they don't, you really can't think about them as part of the 4 row or the 4 stitch repeat. All right, last wrong side row to complete a full sequence here, and we are going to, think of it this way, we're going to purl those 2 edge stitches. I knit the first one, purl the second one, and then we have a yarn over. It's the single yarn over that just gets purled. Then we start in on the purl 2 together. That accounts for the decrease of that 1 yarn over, and then we start with our kind of little 4 stitch repeat here, which is purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together. We're going to do that again. Purl 2 together. If I can get my needle to go in the right spot. There we go. We're to the yarn over, so it's purl 1, knit 1. Purl 2 together. Purl 2 together. This is going to counter that single yarn over that's right there. So just purl that 1 and then work my 2 end stitches, edge stitches. There we go. All right, so now we're really starting to go somewhere. I'm going to go ahead and do 1 more full repeat. Because again, these are only swatches. I'm not trying to get gauge or anything. I'm just trying to see how the pattern works out. So you can see on a fine yarn, and this is a cotton acrylic blend. It's very open and lacy, but it has these really cute little picots. Even if the picots themselves or they're not all looking like hearts. The picot is there, so it's all good. All right, 1 more time around. Knit 4, double yarn over, knit 4, double yarn over, and the last 4. All right, so now we have to decrease all those yarning overs because all we did was add stitches, and to counter those we're going to be purling 2 together, but we're going to start off with just purling the first 2. Oh, I knit 1, purl 1. There's my edge stitches, and then we start in, let's see, purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1. That's in that yarn over, that double yarn over, purl 2 together, and we do that again, purl 2 together. So essentially we're purling the 2 stitches together that are on either side of the double yarn over. There's our double yarn over, and that's a purl 1. I could drop 1 loop and then knit 1, come back, purl 2 together. Purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together, purl 1, and I slipped the last one because of making a nice smooth edge. So you can see how nice and smooth my edges are there. All right, so this next row is just going to offset those yarn overs. So we're always adding yarn overs on the right side row, and we're always decreasing our stitch count on the wrong side row. So here we're going to knit 2, yarn over just once, knit 4, yarn over twice, knit 4, yarn over twice, knit 4, yarn over once, because we don't have 4 stitches left. All right, and then essentially we're going to be doing the same thing. In the double yarn overs, we purl 1, knit 1. We do have 2 single yarn overs, and they just get purled. There's our single yarn over. We're going to purl that one. And then we start with the purl 2 together, purl 2 together again. That purl 2 together countered that single yarn over. This purl 2 together is helping to counter our double yarn over here. There's purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together. That took care of that double yarn over. And then we start again. Purl 2 together, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2 together, purl 2 together. There's our single yarn over, which we just countered with that purl 2. So we just purl that 1 and then finish out. And we're good. I'm going to go ahead and just knit all the way across and then bind off. Nice open lacy look here, and I'm just going to bind off in knitting because I'm too lazy to, or I like purling enough to bind off in the purl. Ugh. Mondays, man, I'm telling you. Not that my weekend's all that different from my weekdays, but all the same. I know it's Monday. when I get down to these last two, I go ahead and I knit those together because they are the one is the edge stitch and if I work them separately, I've been slipping that last stitch, so it really hasn't added width to the piece. And so if I were to work that one separately, it would be adding width right at the end. Needles are so loud. All right, first swatch of the day. Could have gone off a little looser, but that's all right. Cat's eye. So it's very stretchy. Made nice mesh type of thing, so you could use it in shawls. But the whole point of it is that it has these little picot. It's a picot eyelet as opposed to a regular eyelet. Regular eyelets are just round. So this would probably take some blocking to fully get all the holes to be nice. These may have been like too big of needles. Plus, this is cotton yarn, so worked with a wool or a yarn that's an animal fiber that has more stretch and give to it would also make a difference. So something else to keep in mind. All right, moving right along. We're doing pretty good. Half hour for the first stitch today. Now we are moving on to the Shetland eyelet pattern. The cat's eye was also a Shetland inspired, well, the Shetland all over lace. So let me see if it says anything of note here. Other than this is technically actually a lace fabric, but it has eyelets in it. Like it's lace and eyelets, and so therefore she put it in the eyelet chapter. She can do whatever she wants, right? It's her book. So yeah, so basically it's a simple Shetland lace plus these eyelets. It makes a very pretty vertical insertion, so you could insert one repeat of this, which is 9 stitches, to make a nice little piece there. It's done over 8 rows. I'm going to go ahead and do 18 stitches. I'm just double checking. Actually, I'm going to do 20 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and add an extra edge stitch to each thing. So this is going to be 2 full repeats across. I think that'll be enough to kind of get an idea of what is going on in this pattern. So I'm back, however, to my smaller needles, which make less noise. And I see that my hands are looking kind of dark, so let's get some. Who cares what the face looks like? Let's put some light on the hands here. Oh, it's hot here this morning. Or it's me. Could be either way. Could be a combo. I've been working hard all weekend getting my graphic design, surface pattern design portfolio put up on my website. So I've been going through, trying to organize some things. Oof. Plus working on some new stuff. All right, what did I say? 20. Let's do a couple more. I have no idea. All right, let's see how close we were. 5, 10, 15, 20 plus 2. So Didn't really need to do those two. That's all right. All right, so I have to remember that I've added an extra stitch at each end, which I will always knit the first one and slip that last one, and then their actual pattern repeat will happen in between. But it's going to start off with the wrong side, which is purl. So still knitting the first one. Still planning to slip the last one. If I can get the 4 patterns done today, then I only have 3 left for next week, and then the chapter is done. It's very exciting because the following chapter is lace, and that goes on for quite a while. So it takes up a good portion of the book, quite possibly the rest of the book. I think there is one more chapter. Oh yeah, there's cables and cable stitches. So yeah, there's quite, but that lace, the lace will last me well into the fall. So, all right, that was boring, just purling. All right, here we go into something more exciting. Actually, this is a 8-row repeat. All the wrong side rows are purl, so there's only 4 rows that have something exciting going on. So it starts off with knit 2, so I have to remember I have to knit the first one. Doesn't count as that part. Now we're going to go ahead and start. It's knit 2, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. And that little thing right there from the knit 2 together all the way through the slip, slip, knit, like that is Shetland lace right there. All right, then we're going to have 2 stitches in between, so we're going to knit 2, and so it's written as a panel. 2 together. What I have to see here is how it is going to repeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so it should work here. Knit 2, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. So in past weeks we've had this discussion about yarn overs and what happens with the stitch that follows, whether it's a knit or a purl, and how that affects things. But here, after each of these yarn overs, we're still doing something knit, so our yarn is still in the back here, so we don't really need to worry about that. But if you're curious, and we may have a pattern coming up, I'm not sure, where we have to worry about whether our yarn over, if we have to change the direction of it or whatnot, in order to equalize the size of the eyelets there. All right, wrong side, we're going to purl. I'm still knitting the first one, purling all the rest, slipping the last. I've gotten so used to these smaller needles working on this chapter that when I was doing the cat's eye, it was awkward using that size 8, where before all the other chapters in the book, for the most part, were probably done on size 8s. So you get used to what you get used to, and then when you make a change, it's slightly awkward, and then it's not. All right, next right side row, we're going to start off, well, I'm going to knit the first one. That's my edge stitch, not part of the repeats. And now we're going to knit 1, knit 2 together. Knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 1. All right, that's our 9 there. Do that again. Knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Oops, one of my slips didn't make it over. There we go. Knit 1, then I just have my edge stitch. There we go. All right. I'm going to be doing the whole 8-row repeat again, so on that time around I will be explaining more about why you knit 2 together and then slip, slip, knit and all that good stuff. So wrong side row, just purl. Gotta love that. Row 6, I'm going to work my edge stitch, knit 1, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, yarn over, slip 2 knitwise. So I am going to slip them separately because it doesn't really say, and then knit 1, pass the 2 stitches over. Let's see what that looks like. Well, we're going to do that one that way. Yarn over, knit 2 together. So we're going to come back and I'm going to try a different thing with that double decrease in the center, and then we can compare. What it looks like, that is the whole reason I do a swatch. All right, knit 1, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, yarn over. These 2 I'm going to slip together knitwise. Knit 1, pass the 2 slip stitches over. No, I lost my. Oh, come on, let's not be fussy on a Monday morning. Let's try that again. All right, knit 1. Hold it so it doesn't go anywhere. There we go. Okay, so that is definitely going to give a different look, and I'll explain what that look is exactly momentarily. Yarn over, knit 2 together. Yarn over, knit 1, and then slip my last one. Let's purl back and then we can take a look at that. And then we just have one more right side row. and we will have finished an entire row sequence. And I will, of course, do a few more of these. You can't really get a whole sense of what's going on unless you have them stacked upon each other. Okay. So let's take a little look-see here. All right, so we have this double decrease in the center where the direction said to slip to knitwise, and knit one, pass, slip, step over. So here I slipped each one individually and then knit the next one and pass that slip stitch over. And you can kind of see, well, see this stitch, I'm looking at that, that's the problem. Here the dominant stitch on top is the one on the far right. As compared to over here, the dominant stitch is the center one. So it keeps this nice line in the center up there. So I would say that the better look, kind of look past it. So like this one, you get a piece coming over, because that's where the stitch, you had the 3 stitches and they essentially end up like this. Where on the other one, they end up like this. So it makes a much smoother transition when that center stitch, which is the one that's going to get worked. And so it's a smoother look as opposed to this one, which, looks like it's been cut off. So I am going to make a note in the book that those should be slipped together. Sometimes it says specifically, and sometimes it doesn't. It kind of just leaves it up to you. And that is why I like to always do a, besides knitting a gauge swatch, if gauge is important to the item, I like to do a little swatch for the stitch patterns when I pick up something because, these are the types of things that, not all patterns specify and may just assume. So I like this much better, so I will make sure that I'm slipping those 2 together knitwise, knitting the next one, and then passing the slipped stitches over. And when they're slipped together like that, it makes the center stitch where so these 2 get slipped. When they're slipped together, this one becomes the dominant one when they get passed over the stitch that you knit. As opposed to with slipping them separately, then they end up fingers really don't work that way, but like that. So there we go. All right. Now we're ready for row 8. This is the last row of the sequence, and then I'm going to start that row again. And as I do that, I will explain more about the whole knitting 2 together versus slip, slip, knits, and all that good stuff. All right, so I'm knitting my edge stitch, and then the pattern starts with knit 3. Yarn over. Oh, we have another slip 2 knitwise. Knit 1, pass, slip, stitch over. So the same thing. I'm going to do them together. Knit the next one. Did I have a yarn over? Did I do a yarn over? Hold on. Hold up, sister. Oh, I did. Okay. I couldn't see it because it blended in. All right, there's my yarn over. All right, slip 2 together knitwise. So again, that's going to cause that center stitch to, we'll definitely be able to see it better there. Yarn over, knit 3. Knit 3. Yarn over. Slip 2 together knitwise. 1. Pass the 2 slip stitches over. Yarn over, knit 3. And I'm slipping the last stitch. All right, I'm going to go ahead and purl back because I think it'll be easier to see what is going on with that. All right. Now we can kind of take a look at what's going on. So, see on the, zoom in a little bit there. Sorry about the shake. All right. So I'm going to cover up these 2 eyelet holes for a second because that's indeed what they are, eyelet holes. And this part right here, let's spread that out a little bit more, is the Shetland lace. That's a typical Shetland lace pattern. So we've got almost like a little circle of eyelets, and then, a circle of yarn overs that they kind of are counting as lace. But then we have these little eyelets that are just stuck out to the side. And for this reason, for these 2 little eyelets out here, oh my gosh, that's just a camera shake. Lord. This is what gives the name to the pattern, Shetland eyelet pattern, and why it got put in this chapter instead of the lace chapter. So, all right, so we're going to do that whole thing over again so we can see them stacked on top of each other. Let me zoom back out. I didn't realize how much the camera was shaking. I love my new table. It's just a larger tabletop, IKEA tabletop, than my former tabletop, which was the smallest one that I think IKEA makes. It's the kind, it's just the tabletop. You add your own, well, you add IKEA legs. But you can, do like lots of stuff. Like this one's long enough. It's not the, I don't think it's the largest one they have, but it's pretty big. And, but I noticed it has a lot more play in it. So, like my monitor is shaking, and everything's shaking. It's like a little earthquake. All right, whew. Where are we? Knit 1 to start off with. All right, now we are at knit 2. Knit 2 together. Tricky because one of those is essentially a new stitch. So when you knit 2 together, let me do some more and then I can show you. Yarn over, knit 1. So this 1 here is the center stitch that's going to be the center the whole time. Yarn over, slip, slip, knit. So typically, if you look up directions for slip, slip, knit, you slip a stitch knitwise, you slip the next stitch knitwise, and then you have to come back in and do that. I slip the first knit first knit. The first stitch knitwise, I slip the second one purlwise because I don't have to remove my needle. I can just swing around and I'm ready to complete the stitch, and I can just move on. Slip, slip, knit, knit two. So a slip, slip, knit causes the stitches to go like this, and a knit two together causes them to go like that, I think. It's more obvious in some parts of knitting than others, but it definitely slants the stitches in a different direction, and you really would like those to be mirrored, so that's why you have to do that. All right, so I knit two, I'm going to knit two together, yarn over, knit one, that's that very center stitch, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit two, and now to my edge stitch. So in that first row, we're putting the yarn overs on either side of the center stitch, and we are countering those yarn overs with a knit two together at first and a slip, slip, knit next after the yarn overs. So knit two together before yarn over, slip, slip, stitch after yarn over. And of course on the wrong side, we're just purling the way across. Right. This time we are, so before we started with a knit two and then we knit two together, this, well, during our edge stitch. This time we're moving things a little, so we're just doing knit one and then we're knitting two together. So before it was essentially these two stitches, now it's these two stitches. So this stitch right here, you can see is where we knit two together before. So now we're kind of continuing that sequence up there. Yarn over, but now we need to knit three stitches because we're going to take care of those in the center. So we're moving the eyelets or the yarn overs outward. Yarn over, knit three. Yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit one. That takes care of our sequence there. Then we do that again. Knit one, knit two together. Yarn over, knit three. That second stitch should be the center, and it is. Yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit one. I wanted to sneak an extra yarn over in there, but that would have been very, very bad. All right. Purl. So all we've done is move the eyelets outward one from the center. And then this next row is where we're going to add those extra eyelets. So let's take a look at that. So you can see so far, oops, there we go. So ignore this; these two holes right here from the previous sequence. So it's hard to see that. There we go. So we have the two eyelets on each side of the center stitch, and then we have three stitches between the eyelets. And now we are going to still sort of have that, right? What are we going to do here? Oh, we're going to start to draw this in. All right, so I'm going to do my edge stitch. We're going to knit one, yarn over. This is the essentially the little eyelet. Here, because we have the eyelet, so remember when we were doing these, we had a yarn over followed by slip, slip, knit. So indeed, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Right? Now we have our 3 stitches. So the yarn over and slip, slip, knit have canceled each other out as far as stitch count is concerned. So now we have to, though, continue the lace part of the Shetland pattern. So we have to yarn over. We would usually counter that with a slip, slip, knit, but we have to put a yarn over here also, and there aren't 2 stitches before that to do. We only have 3. So we have to do a double decrease here, 3 stitches down to 1, but we're adding 2 stitches. So minus 2 here, but we're adding 2 here, if that makes sense. So yarn over, and this is where we're going to slip 2 together, knit 1, pass the slipped stitches over, there we go, yarn over, knit 2 together, I believe, yes, yarn over, knit 1. So the knitting 2 together was because it is preceding a yarn over, so they go together. These 3 stitches, yarn over, double decrease, yarn over, counter each other, and then this is the yarn over, slip, slip, knit. I hope all that makes sense. And then you just have a knit 1 on each end to kind of cap it all off. Whew, hope that made sense. All right, let's do it again. Knit 1, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Yarn over, need to do a double decrease because we're going to have another yarn over here. So we're going to slip those 2 together, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, yarn over. That completes that part. Now we have a knit 2 together, wiggle it in there, yarn over, knit 1, and end. Whew, it was a lot, wasn't it? All right, let's purl back and we can take a look, and then we just have 1 more row. This is all lace on the next row, no extra little eyelet there. Alrighty. Alright, so it's looking pretty good. There's our little eyelets out here. And then this is making what essentially looks like a almost a little rosette or rosebud. And actually, is this rosebud? Yeah, here's the rosebud from last week. So these were sort of a standalone motifs that are offset. A little different than the lace. This is definitely an eyelet pattern because they're just kind of poking holes in here. Where lace tends to, more like this, it kind of stacks on top of each other, or it can still be offset, but it's definitely more interconnected. Anyhow, let's do row 8 here, and we'll just probably end off after that. So we're going to knit 3, 2, 3, and we're going to do a yarn over and then bring this back down to being 1 point so that it does essentially kind of makes a little bit of an elongated loop here. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to slip 2 together, knit 1, pass the 2 slip stitch over, so that was a double decrease. There's our other yarn over to account for the 2 increases we need. Knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we just do that again. 1, 2, 3, yarn over, slip 2 together, knitwise, knit 1, pass the slip stitches over, yarn over, knit 3. I'm going to purl back and then bind off, and that will conclude this little swatch. It's nice to have smaller swatches today. And then we'll be moving on to another big open lacy one called the Grand Eyelet Lace. Ooh, lots of yarn overs. We had a similar pattern earlier a few weeks ago called Crown of Glory, and it had this like huge eyelet with a whole bunch of stitches that came out of it across the top, and then there were tiny little stitches. They were tiny little, compared to the other eyelets that were essentially like the points of the crown. So it was interesting. All right, let's bind this off, then we can really take a look. So this is a pattern that you could, if you had like a relatively plain sweater, you just wanted to give it a little zhuzh, then you could take 9 stitches, say like on one side of the placket, and just add this, or any multiple of 9 really. You could do 2 across, and it would just add a little bit of interest. That is the purpose of this pattern. It certainly can be worked as a repeat over and over and over across a piece, and that makes it a more lacy looking thing, of course. Probably could have bound off a little looser here, but it is what it is. So again, if you haven't joined my streams very much, I am knitting my way through Barbara Walker's A Treasury of Knitting Patterns. I am in the first of 4 books, at least I own 4 books, and I am just knitting the swatches of all the different stitch patterns. I keep them all cataloged in boxes, with little note cards on them. I had a spreadsheet going, but I haven't been very good at keeping that up. But it gives me I'm just learning all sorts of new things. I'm a long time knitter. I've been knitting for well over 40 years. And, but you can always learn new stuff. So, all right. So we'll kind of try to look at just one. So there's the little, Shetland lacy look pattern, and then these little eyelets, because that's what they are, on the, I can't move my finger out of the way. Here we go. On each side, those are the eyelets that give this pattern the name Shetland eyelet pattern. Shetland lace, eyelets. Ta-da! So you could have just like this as a whole column going up the sweater, like I said. You could have multiple ones going across. You can have a whole sweater that's done like this. So it's very pretty. I like it. It was not a difficult pattern to do. So thumbs up in my book. I'm writing that down. Thumbs up. Let me pull the book over though. I want to look a little closer to see whether or not they have actually done. Let me see. What am I looking for? Yeah, I think so. Look. Like, you see how that's just a nice smooth, and here's that one where I slipped those two individually knitwise and then knit the one and pulled it over. And you can see it makes essentially like a little knot. That might be the look that you're going for, so that would be broken up. But you see over here, like we have just a nice whoosh down that. And I think they do. Oh, I don't know, maybe not. Kind of hard to tell. See there? Well, yeah, it does look like it is through there, so that could just be lighting. So yes, so I do believe that the correct way would be to knit two together, not knit two, slip two together knitwise. I'm glad we've cleared that up. All right, grand eyelet lace. Let's see what happens here. The grand eyelet is an extra large one, usually made by a yarn over 2 or 3 times. And the eyelet, in this pattern, the eyelet is enlarged instead by working 3 more stitches from it. And the fabric is reversible. I do love a good reversible fabric, I have to admit. Oh, and this is going to require 2 sets of needles. Let me see, though, if I have a slightly smaller needle than an 8. The 8 might have just been too much for... I have a lot of needles. And this is just the needles I've been working with recently. That's a huge needle. I have my, you can't see, but it's like a whole, it's a whole container of needles. This one looks like a pretty good, ooh, I think I'm working with a 3 right now, so a 6, maybe a 7 would be good. I know I have to have one in here. If not, we will use the 8. I have a lot of 8s in here. What's this one? That's a 4. All right, we're just going to use the 8. I mean, I'm sure it'll make it like ginormous, but what can you do? All right, this is a multiple of 4 stitches plus 4 edge stitches. So we're going to cast on 16 because I'm sure this is going to get big. I'm going to go ahead and get this one done. It's only 3 rows repeated, so that makes it even easier. And because the 4th pattern of the day is going to be a big one, so it's actually 6 smaller patterns, but I'm going to knit them all as one big one. So what did I say, 16? Which never seems like very many stitches on the needle until it just expands. It's 5, 10, 14, 16. All right. And row 3 should be worked very loosely. It is best to use a needle several times larger than the needles used for the rest of the work. Okay. All right, we're going to start off with purl 2. There isn't really a right side row, wrong side row because there's an odd number of rows. So when I come back to this row 1 next time, it'll be on the opposite side of the piece. So it makes it reversible. All right, yarn over, purl 4. 2, 3, 4. Whoops, that was purl 4 together. Beep, back out. Helps if I read the rest of. Okay. Yarn over, purl 4 together. You've got to be nuts. Okay. All right. This is like winging a prayer. Because there is no way I am getting both needles, especially on a cast on row. I can't believe I managed to do that. All right. Whew. Not done yet. Got to do it again. Yarn over, purl 4 together. And now, in all honesty, this row is usually coming off of, probably should have said cast on with a bigger needle. The next time I have to do this row, it will be having just knit a row on the big needles. So it should be way easier. So if I can get through this, it should make the rest of it pretty easy. Put together. Whew. Yarn over. Look, I only have to do this 3 times, so. Come on, get in there. Whew. All right. And with purl 2, I'm going to slip the last one. All right, so we have like shrunk down quite a bit. Now we're going to make up for that. We're going to knit 2. And then we're going to knit 1. That is where above the purl 4 together. Then we should come to a yarn over. We're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. So knit 1, I don't slip it off. I come through and I purl 1. Still don't slip it off. Go back and knit 1. And now I slip it off. Then we're going to knit 1. So I'm just knitting into that one that's above the purling 4 together. Knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, knit 1, purl 1. Oops. You slip it off, it's okay, just put it back on the needle. 1 and knit 2, except I'm slipping the last one. All right, it's coming back. It now has the same number of stitches we had before. And now this is where we are going to, with my loud needle, knit across. However, before I do that really quickly, I had set my watch on the charger. So I need to remember to put it back on. Okay. All right, and then this row we're just going to knit. And it's going to make it much looser. So when you're going from a small needle to a big needle, you can't always get necessarily the stitches onto the full shaft of the needle, and that's okay. Even if you can get just the point in there, but then you want to make sure that you slide the new stitch down onto the shaft, because this is what sets the size of the stitch. So it's fine to like work it on the tip, but then make sure it gets down to where it needs to go. Because that's going to set the size. Oh, look how pretty these are. right. Now we start the repeat again. So this time I'm on the opposite side of the work from where I was the last time I did row 1. So we start off with purl 2. I knit the first one. It's an edge stitch. I did my purl 2. All right, yarn over, purl 4 together. Oh yeah, see, it's much easier. Yarn over, purl 4 together. Maybe. Yarn over, purl 4 together, and we are purling over top of the stitches that we had made previous. Oops. Let me undo that yarn over. Don't need one there. Okay, now set aside the big needles for a row. And on this row, we're just working, we're knitting and then doing the triple thing here in the yarn overs. And then we just knit, knit, purl, knit, the yarn over, knit, knit, purl, knit. Oops. No. And knit. Back to the big needle. It's only a 3-row repeat, so this would be one that, depending on the size of it, I'd probably be working on straight needles because it's getting a little crazy, but that's okay. And then we just knit all the way across this one. Save yourself a lot of time if you can work the stitches on the tip rather than trying to force it down. It just takes extra time. Just remember, though, that you want to have the completed stitch end up on the shaft where you get the full size of the needle. All right, and now we're back to our first row again, which is purl 2. This is the purl, so after the knit row is a purl, essentially a purl row. And this is the yarn over, knit 4 together. And the 4 that you're knitting together are the 3 that are above the eyelet plus the one preceding it. This is how this pattern offsets those eyelets, because it's worked on the, there we go. Yarn over, purl 4 together. Yarn over. Oops, come back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set that one aside. Now we're just knitting, and then when we get to the eyelets, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. this is a very easy pattern. I'm kind of liking my actual swatch better than the picture in the book. Picture in the book, they're really huge. But yeah, so it's essentially like little triangles. What's this called? Grand Eyelet lace. Yeah, it's not half bad. It's not half bad. I'm going to go ahead and do one more repeat. This is going to be a tiny swatch. But that's okay. That's okay. Don't know where. Oh, so. Back to the knit-a-row. Then we purl. So we purl 2, yarn over, purl our 4 together. Set that aside. This is the only time where you have small needle meets small needle, and that is to increase back out, because now we're down to, what, 10 stitches? We started out with 16. So you know, if you have this number of stitches on your needle that you cast on, it's time to use the big needle. See, my skein of yarn is dancing its way across here. Something's stuck. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Now the question is, do I knit the next row with the big needle and then bind off with the small needle? Or I think I'm just going to go ahead and knit with this needle and then bind off and knit. But I'm going to try to knit this one nice and loosely. If you're designing your own knitwear pattern, it's important to figure out how you're going to introduce the pattern in. Like, remember, it was so hard doing those purl 4 together off of that cast on row. Ooh. Small headache there. Okay, feeling better now. So, you know, if this was going to be an actual pattern of something, might I try to have cast on with a larger needle? Would that be too loose of a cast on? Would I just cast on and then knit one row with the larger needle to kind of help things along? Those are the kind of things that swatches are really good for. I know everybody gives swatch is a bad name because they don't want to knit them, mostly because then there's math involved in trying to figure out, you know, is this needle yarn combination the correct size to get the pattern I want? And I get that. However, there's a lot more to swatches than just finding out the gauge. So it's a good way to experiment with things. Oh, and also you can see, remember we have a knit one, purl one, knit one, so that it has a little bit of a can do. Well, sometimes there's a little picot. All right, well, we're going to bind off this one here. We are good on time. I'm very excited. Because I think I have enough, well, I think we'll be okay. I'm going to take, hopefully, enough time. I do have an appointment this afternoon, or at noon, so I will need to not go too long past 11, but I think I can. I will be good. This turned out to be a much tinier swatch than what, oops, come back, than what I anticipated it was going to be. But I think it definitely comes down to the needles and the yarn, that combination. All right, it's the same on both sides because, again, it's a 3-row repeat, so it's the same, which is pretty cool. So that's great for like scarves or neck cowls or something like that, where things might get twisted around and you know, both sides get seen. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. Yeah, I definitely think that casting on either with the larger needle or a larger needle might be beneficial. So, but it's a pretty cool pattern. I like it. And apologizing for the shake. I see my table just everywhere. All right, this last pattern that I'm going to do today is actually called dice patterns. These make a novelty fabric consisting of garter stitch blocks divided by rows and columns of eyelets, and within each block contains one or more eyelets arranged in imitation of the spots on a face of a die. Any of the 6 possible arrangements can be used depending on how rows 5, 6, 9, 10, 13, and 14 are worked. Oh my gosh. It's because there's 16 rows. Row 5 and 6 control the lower third of each die, rows 9 and 10 the middle third, and rows 13 and 14 upper. Okay. If desired, all these rows may be knitted plain. The result is a pattern of blank or solid garter stitch blocks. 5 spot and box cars, being simple combinations of the other 4, are not illustrated. Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, well, we're going to do, there's 6, right, faces of the die. And so each pattern is a multiple of 10 stitches plus 6. So I was going to do 26. That would give me 2 across. So I could do snake eyes deuce, and then tray and 4 spot, and then 5 spot and box cars. Did you know that they all had names like that? I knew snake eyes. I didn't know box cars or tray or deuce. So, oops. So let us see. All right, so I'm going to cast on 26. So this, and there are 16 row repeats. So it's quite a number of rows for this one. So it's probably going to take a little over an hour, or a little over half an hour at least. Each of those little swatches we did took half an hour, but it's a lot of knitting and not so much purling. So we love that. Anyway, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And if for some reason it just starts to take too long, I'll have to finish it up next Monday. Because I think the remaining stitches, I've got some, aren't really huge ones either. So, all right, so we're going to cast on 26, which you can't see me doing. I do a knitted cast on, so I knit a stitch, and instead of sliding it off, I just pull that loop larger, take my left needle, swing it into the back of that loop, and then pull my needle snug, and I'm ready to knit the next one. When I would teach my students this, I would have them like take the needle out, snug it up, put the needle back in, until they got used to doing it. But once you get going, you don't have to take the needle out, you just keep it. I like efficient knitting. That's why I like my slip slip knit to be a slip one knit wise, slip one purl wise. It doesn't affect the look of the stitch, and it's much more efficient. All right, let's see where we are now. I need 26. That's 5, 10, 15, 24. Looks like it kind of dives right into it. So I am going to go ahead and just knit 2 rows to give a little bit of a basis here. This is going to be a pretty big swatch. Actually, I probably only need to knit 1 row. Just want to give it a little bit more. It's going to start off putting some eyelets in the bottom, and I would rather it have a little more substance right next to the cast on. All right. So we're going to start off here with knit 2, and then yarn over, knit 2 together up until the last 2 stitches. And we're doing two different patterns, but they start off the same. Whoops. Okay, yarn over and I knit 1. I wasn't paying attention. All right. Yarn over, knit 2 together. Right, down to the last 2 stitches, and those we just knit. All right. And after that, we're just going to knit all the way across. So this is essentially the bottom of the dice. Gives it a nice little border of eyelets. Right. Kind of see those happening there. All right, so we're going to do one repeat of this row. So we have knit one, then we're going to knit two together. It's going to take a lot of brain power this morning. Together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Okay. It's like, why? Interesting. Okay, knit six. Six. Okay, row three is the same on the deuce, so I'm going to keep doing that. We're going to knit two together. Ah, okay, I see. I was like, well, I don't quite get it, but I get it now. Okay, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit six. Six. Knit two together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Whew, one was left. Okay, well, that was good. That was good. All right, row four, same on both. So that is good. We love that. Knit two. Knit one, purl one. I was wondering about that because we had two decreases but only one increase. Okay. Knit eight. Knit one, purl one. Knit eight. Purl one, and end with knit two. Okay. So far we're just sort of building a block. There's two blocks here. All right, so row 5 and 6 are just knit for snake eyes, but they are different on the deuce. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm surprised there's not an edge eyelet thingy going on, but hey, whatever. So essentially there should be 3, and then there should be 10. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. then we should knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 6, something's off here. Oh, okay, I know what I did. That knit 4 includes the 3, and I don't need that. So I'm backing up here. All right, so these first 3 stitches are edge stitches. Then we should have 10 stitches for the repeat. 3, 6, 9, 10. All right, then I got one more here. Okay, so that is the first part. That's the snake eyes. Then the directions for the deuce are knit 4. However, the first 3 of those stitches are an edge. Well, I don't have an edge here. I'm right there, so I only need to knit 1. Then I need to knit 2 together. Yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then end with knit 2. So this part is the deuce. Now that I've flipped back, I need to do row 6 of the deuce. Row 6 of snake eyes is knit. So once I finish the deuce, I'll be able to just keep knitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, good, that worked, because the next one is the yarn over, and that's going to be knit 1, purl 1. And then I'm just going to be knitting to the end. This will all make sense shortly, and once we kind of get going with this, it'll make things, I think, much easier. Okay. All right, we're back to our snake eyes block here. We have the start of our deuce here. And then this is the little separation in between. All right, so now we're on 7 and 8. Repeat rows 3 and 4. Which is the same for both. Okay. Yeah. So that is knit 1. This is making the little side separators. So that was knit 1. Then knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 6. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 6. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, and there should be one left. Whew. Okay. And then we're just going to be knitting across, and then when we come to any of those yarn overs, it's knit one, purl one into those. So our stitch count does change on each row. There's a yarn over, so it was knit one, purl one into that yarn over, and then we just knit again until we come to a yarn over. There's another yarn over, knit one, purl one. Last one. All right. So, still not a whole lot to look at, but this is going to be a little square, and right now we're going to get ready to put an eyelet kind of smack dab in the middle. That's the snake eye. And then this one won't have any more eyelets until up here where it will get the other one. All right, 7 and 8. Oh, yeah, okay, so we did 7 and 8. Now we're on 9. Okay, and on row 9 for deuce, we're just going to be knitting across. So we're only going to do the repeat for 9 at the beginning here for the snake eye, which is knit 6, 2, 6, knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit 6. Well, we're going to just knit to the end. On the row back, it's starting to come together in my head now. So on the row back, we're just going to knit everything until we get to a yarn over, knit one, purl one into the yarn over. I love that it's garter stitch because you don't have to think. Yay! Alright, here's that yarn over. Knit one, purl one in that, and just knit to the end. Okay, row 11. Nothing going on row 11. Row 11 is the same as row 3. So this is just another row where we're going to be putting the eyelets in the space in between. So that makes it easy. So that's knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. So you see it's a double, well, there's 2 decreases, but only 1 increase. And on the next row, we do a double, well, we do an increase, not a double increase. We do an increase in the yarn over so it evens back out. Six. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. sleepy music. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, and we just have 1. And then on the way back, we are just knit 1, purl 1 into any yarn over. All right. So on our snake eyes block here, we already have the 1, so it's just going to be knitting for here. But on this row we have the 1 here, and we're going to need to put an eyelet up here on the deuce. So I just will have to pay attention for that. But I'm going to go ahead and knit 13. That will get me halfway across. Which puts me at that eyelet. And now row 13 of the deuce starts with knit 8. I have to subtract 3 because they're accounting for an edge. I'm not at the edge, I'm in the middle. So I'm going to knit 5. And then we have knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. I should have 4 left, and I do, so that is fantastic. All right, on this row back, same thing we do on all essentially wrong side rows, which is when you get to a yarn over, knit 1, purl 1. And we only have 1 right here. That is row 14. Okay, so now it's time to do another row where we kind of put in these column markers of separating the different die faces. So that is knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. And we knit 6. Stitches that are light there. Knit 2 together, yarn over. What is going on with that? There's some, okay. together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 6, together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. All right, wrong side row, we're going to knit 1, purl 1 into any of the yarn overs. That is going to give us back to our original stitch count there. Essentially, we had decreased twice and increased once on the right side row, which left us down a stitch for every time we did that. And now we're making that up by knitting 1 and purling 1 into the yarn over. And that takes us back up to our original stitch count. Alrighty. That actually completes a repeat, although we haven't done the row, which will be the bottom of the next, or the start of the next row, which gives us the whole little sequence of yarn overs that form the edge. But right now, that edge, which will be the top of this block, is the bottom of the next block. Does that make sense? They're the same. So, but here's our snake eyes. We have 1, and then here's our deuce. We have 2. So I'm going to do the 3 and the 4, or the tray and the 4 spot. So they also start off the same way, which we're going to be putting those little eyelets in. So I knit 2, and then it's just yarn over, knit 2 together all the way across. This retains the stitch count, so there's no, when we just knit back on the next one. So, because we're yarning over to make 1, knitting 2 together, it takes 1 away, so we're back to the same stitch count. And as such, these holes are just a smidge smaller than the others. Over, knit 2 together, and then finish out the 2. And then we're just going to knit all the way back. This is the only row where it's all just knit. Right. So you can see now how we have 2 complete faces of dies, but we've essentially also at the same time started in on the next ones. Let's see, so that was row 1 and 2. 3, rows 3 and 4. Rows 3 and 4 are just going to be setting up little side things, nothing And that happens on all of them. Yeah. So, and that is just knit 1, and then it's knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 6, repeat. Now here we do have, we've decreased twice and only increased once, so we definitely have to knit 1, purl 1 into the yarn over on the wrong side row. Got a little carried away. Almost forgot to make this little edge eyelet. And I'm on it. There we go. So knit 1, purl 1. Move those out of the way. Okay. 5 and 6. 5 and 6 of row 2. All right, so the tray is going to be just like the deuce. It's really kind of like a combination of these two. So we have to put an eyelet in now at the bottom corner. Then we'll put one in the middle, and then we'll put one up at the top. That's that. The 4 spot is, we'll have an eyelet here and here. So that's the new ones above that one. And then there won't be any in the middle, of course, and then there'll be one here and here. So start off with a 3. My yarn is like twined in my swatches from earlier. So that is going to be knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. That's the bottom of the tray. And then the 4 spot is we will knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. And we do that twice. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. I might be missing a stitch. That's all looking good. Together, yarn over. Seems correct. Together, yarn over. Slip, slip, knit. 2, and it says I should end with 2. Now the tricky part is counting because we have a different count number than, oh, I know what I did wrong. Back it up, back it up. I miscounted from here, and because there's one less stitch, and I was like, oh yeah, that'll be good. All right, it's all good, it's all good. This is definitely a pattern that charted out would be much better. Boom. Boom. There we go. All right, I was figuring there would be 13 stitches here. There should be 12 because we had 2 decreases and only 1 increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There is my knit 1. And now, let's see if this works. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Yay! Woof, knit 2, and then 2 at the end. Whew. Okay, easier on the next row round. We just knit across. When we come to a yarn over, knit 1, purl 1. I'm not sure we're going to get all 6 die faces done, but we'll see. This pattern would definitely benefit from a chart. Well, and part of the issue, it's not really, I guess, an issue, is that the instructions are as if you were doing each of the blocks kind of individually and repeating that across. So where I have a second die face going, the instructions are giving me the 3 stitches that are the edge here. So we have 3 stitches that kind of, you know, give us an edge from where the blocks begin and end. But I don't have that here because the 2 die faces share this thing. Anyhow, it's definitely doable. It's just taking a little extra math this morning. So this is an easy row though. Right, so we've done 3 and 4. Yeah, 5 and 6. No, we just did 5 and 6. 7 and 8. 7 and 8 are just putting in the edge separators. So that makes it easy. I mean, you get a little break. Okay, wrong side of the edge separators, knit all the way across, knit 1, purl 1 into any yarn overs. That way on every wrong side row except for the row that separates the top and bottom of blocks. And that row you just knit on the wrong side. Which makes it nice. Okay, whew. Now we're to the middle. So our 4 spot will not have anything in the middle. So that's just going to be knit across. But our tray does have a center one. So we have to go back and look at row 9. Right? Oh, yes, same as 1. Okay. It's like, All right, 9, knit 6. And again, 3 of those are edge stitches. So if a tray was over here, I would have only had to knit 3. Nicely. All the eyelets are formed the same way, so that part is easy. We just knit all the way across because our 4 spot doesn't have any eyelets in the center. Wrong side row, and then 1 little yarn over in our tray, we will knit 1, purl 1. All right, it's time for edge separators. So that's just knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 6, repeat. Wrong side row, knit 1, purl 1 in the yarn overs. Okay, now it's time to put some more eyes on the dice. So you can see here, we're ready for the eyelet that goes up here for the tray. And we have 2 down here, so we'll have 2 that go up here for the 4 spot. And on the tray, 14, knit 8. together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. So that's, we should have 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 1. And then on the 4 spot, we're on row 13. 3 through 5 and 6. 1. 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. 2 together, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. Knit the last 4. All right, wrong side row. Knit the knits, purl the pearls. I think, however, this is going to be getting close to where I'm going to end. So we'll have to come back next Monday. I'll be starting off this swatch. That'll work out perfectly, actually. We'll do the 5 spot in the boxcar. And then we'll finish up the last 3 patterns in this chapter, which is very exciting. I've learned a lot about eyelets. Multiple ways to execute them. And they do make like a little bit of a difference, sometimes a lot of difference, in how they look on how they're formed. Okay, whew. So here we have 1, 2, 3, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's hard to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and I have enough time to do the row that is the little side separators for those 2 rows. And I think I'm going to stop right there after those 2, though. Let's leave this on the needle. Never stopped mid-swatch before, but this is a unique swatch because it seems silly to do each one individually. Yeah. Oops, I should pay attention to what I was doing. You know, because they all go together. They're all in the like dice pattern. There we go. So it just seemed like it was a natural choice to put them all together. And I'm sure there is a way that you could actually fold out the whole dice thingy-mabob. Let me see if we do this row, and then that's where I will stop. So it's a wrong side row. I'm just knitting across. I love that this is garter stitch. When I get to a yarn over, knit 1, purl 1. And yes, that is increasing, but we have more decreases on the previous row than increases, so this is making up for it. All right, look at that. Snake eyes, deuce, tray, 4 spot. So next week we'll do the 5 spot in this box car. It's the 5 and the 6. And that will have a nice, it'd be a nice big swatch. This would be a really fun dishcloth for somebody who likes gambling or gaming or whatnot. That'd be kind of fun. I'm doing this on a small gauge, but you could do it on a, you know, worsted weight cotton. Be really cute. So a little border around it. I'm sure there's a pattern out there for that, but anyhow, you could do it too if you just watch this video. So I thank you all for joining me. I hope you learned some stuff. We'll do a quick review. In progress, the dice. Then we have, I don't remember what they're all called here. This was Cat's Eye. This is the first one we did. Right, very big and open. We did it on larger needles than regular needles. Then we had the Shetland lace, the Shetland eyelet, I should say, Shetland eyelet, which has Shetland lace plus an eyelet. And so it got placed in the eyelet category. But it's very lovely. It's an insertion pattern. It's 9 stitches across. You could do it, just substitute 9 stitches of stockinette and do this repeat. Makes a nice little piece there, or you can do it next to each other over and over and it would make a whole lacy looking thing. And then we have the very cool and this was the bind off here. This is the Grand Eyelet lace, which I have to say I liked way better in person than in the book. Like looking through the book, flipping through, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not making that. But it's kind of cool. I kind of like it. So a lot of stretchy stretch. Definitely would do something different with the cast on. But that's where we are today. Thank you so much for joining me. I am back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with cross stitch, where I am working on, well, I call it the 30-year project because it is, I'm on year 30. When I started this project, that is what I dubbed it. So it isn't just because it's now 30 years, it's always been in my mind the 30-year project. It did sit in the closet for 25-ish years, so, you know, not too bad. I am making pretty good progress with it. I'm working on the top of it now. The castle and the frame around the castle and some of the sides, on the sides of the castle, they're not done, but they're mostly done. I'm now on the top. All the cross stitching is done. I'm working on the back stitch and then the very tiny little quarter stitches that happen in between, and then there's an alphabet that goes across. So I'm working on that because I like to get the entire top done before I advance the fabric and then continue downward. So I would say overall it's not quite halfway. I'm not sure I'm going to finish it this year, but it's okay. It's okay. It's a fun project. So if you like cross stitch, it's a very chill stream. I just play the music a little louder and do a lot less talking, and just kind of chill. So if you've got a project to work on and you just want to sit back and chill, listen to some lo-fi or chill music, that's what I do. That's what I do on a Tuesday. Otherwise, I'll be back after that next Monday, finish the dice, and do the last 3 patterns in the eyelet.